We're happy to welcome everyone here to the Tuesday, June 17th, 2025 Parks, Arts, Recreation, and Cultural Commission meeting. Can we establish a quorum?
We can. Chair Corrigan.
Here.
Vice Chair Couture.
Here.
Commissioner Morris.
Here.
Commissioner Valadez.
Here.
We have a quorum with 4.
Thank you. Commissioner Couture, would you like to read the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'd love to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first thing on our agenda is, we'll ask if there is any public comment for items not on the agenda.
At this time, there is not. We only have public comment on item 2, which I'm telling you, so we can highlight it then.
All right, so we're going to start the agenda. The first item on the agenda is the minutes, approval of the April 15th, 2025 minutes.
I move to approve.
Second, I
Did
think
you have a change?
I think first I should ask, are there any edits? Are there any edits?
I can find them.
There's one edit, and that is, the meeting was actually called to order at 6:30. I think it's,
Oh,
yeah. But other than that, I think without edit, I think it's fine. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve it without edit?
as amended. Commissioner Valadez, can I have a second?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, Chair Corrigan.
Yes.
Vice Chair Couture.
Yes.
Commissioner Morris.
Yes.
Commissioner Valadez.
Yes.
That is unanimous.
Okay, great. Now we'll move on to the second item on the agenda, the dog park presentation and public art fund recommendation. Is there a staff report?
No, I'll just go straight to what the request is. So, this item is for the commission to receive the dog park project update and consider a recommendation to city council to use public art funds for the addition of artistic components to the dog park. So, just to give everyone the background information, this dog park will go at Hillview Park, which is right outside of this facility here. It's considered right now the permanent dog park. Right now we have a temporary dog run that's in the park. And we'll have components which we'll get to showing right now, just kind of giving you a preview. The 65% plans are just about done right now by the architect. And what we'll be taking to council is close to, if they can complete it by then, close to 95% plans in August. So the August meeting, there's one meeting, council meeting in August. So council will get an opportunity to review. Council has given staff the direction to move forward with this project with the architect. And at that point, council will have a chance to review where we are in the plans before any construction takes place. But at this time, we are bringing this item to give this commission and the public a chance to see where we are at 65%. And I'll explain some of the decisions we made with the architect moving forward to where we are, to come to the plans that you'll see in front of us. Also, there are components of shade structure and fencing for this dog park, obviously, fencing for those dog parks. And the request is, it is basically a more expensive charge to have something more of an artistic feel, which will give you examples of what we're looking at for the fencing and for the shade structure. So the request and the estimated request that we need to upgrade those components would be about $70,000, and we're requesting a recommendation to council for the use of the art fund for that aspect of the dog park. So that's what we'll finish the discussion with that if there's a motion to make a recommendation, and if not, then it doesn't have to be. So at this time, I'll go ahead and I don't know, Chair, if you'd like me to go ahead and do the presentation, or do you have any clarifying questions at this point?
Yeah, I just want to ask, are there any clarifying questions?
I do. Do you want
make the presentation first?
So that's why I'm asking, do you want me to present first?
I think it's better for the public.
If it's a question on what I've just explained, I can take that now. If it's a
Yeah.
question on the dog park, let me go ahead and. do
Yeah,
it.
I have a clarifying question.
Sure.
So just help me understand, so if there's a shade component that's just a normal shade,
No, it's okay. I think I know what you're getting at.
Okay.
Go ahead.
if there's a shade component that's just a normal shade, it's not artistic, is that taken into account? And so the art, if it, let's just say it's 20,000, and then the art one is 70, so would art pay for 50 or would art pay for 70?
That our estimates on upgrade costs.
Okay,
I
thank you.
think
That
that's-
70K is enough.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
thank you.
with the budget we have right now, we budgeted for everything as is, just a simple fence, just a simple shade structure, and we'll give you some examples of that's what that's gonna look like. And then the upgrade cost is what we've tabulated together to come
Thank
up
you.
with the $70,000 request.
And then I have one clarifying question, which is what is before this commission is the public art aspect of this park, not the design, not re-architecting, because I know that we had a very extensive meeting previously where we went over all of the design details. And so right now, all that is before us is the art.
Thank you very much, Terry. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
So this is just a preview of what's gonna go to council for their review on, I believe it's the 26th of
And
August.
and what would be beneficial for staff and for the city council is for us to make some sort of recommendation on the artistic component.
Yes, the artistic components. And if you have any comments on what you see here, these aren't the plans, these aren't the construction plans, they're not ready yet. But it'll give you an idea of some changes that we made after we tabulated all the recommendations and all the public meetings from the first architect. Now we have this architect that's building the construction plans. And this is where they are right now at 65%. So you'll get a preview of that. If you have any input, we will write it down and include it in our report. That was
Great, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. So with that, we'll start. Our architect is, shoot, why am I blanking? Calendar Associates. Calendar and Associates, they are, putting this project together for us, and they're working at the expected speed, so we are on schedule right now. As for actually, we're slightly ahead of schedule. We might fall back behind schedule though again, because council doesn't have a meeting until August 27th that we'll be able to take this. So they put this presentation together.
I'd like it to go.
So make that presentation one so it's larger.
It's actually, well, you just hold one second, it's not showing correctly. Let's do this one. This is a-
Tala and Associate.
With calendar and so.
Let's see,
That's weird.
yeah, I'm not sure why it's doing this way, but this is where we are right now.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, probably because it's a PDF.
That's not good.
All right.
Okay, so going forward, the second slide you'll see is, a basic, outline of where we are. So in the project, we have the space that's currently sitting where on the other side of what's just built is the generator, location. And it's actually on the plan right there. Although it's hard to read, the generator site being to the right of the screen there in the white. And then it's gonna go from there all the way basically to the fence at the edge of the park on the west side. I think that is, and this park is as planned, it's gonna be separated between small dog area and all dog area. The all dog area being on the lower left side and all the way to the left, that's a bigger open space. And to the right upper part is the small dog area, which will be fenced off for small dogs. Some of the rules, and once again, remember, some of the rules and stuff, will be worked out as we get closer to opening it up. Because I know some questions will be, what is a small dog and everything like that. So that will be worked out, but just for our discussion here, this is what it's gonna look like in two spaces. What I do want to bring to the commission's attention is through the input and the initial plan that was the conceptual plan that was put together included a fenced off area with agility spaces. Working with the architect, that agility space was gonna take up a lot of actual space for dogs to run. And what we did there was we removed the agility spaces in the fenced off agility space in the middle. And there's some components on the edges of the park that the dogs can play on. However, we felt that it would be better to have more space in this park in the main areas than it would to use them for agilities that may or may not be used by all the dogs. These spaces will be used by all the dogs.
Do you think those site, oh, well, go ahead, I'll ask them.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So there is some, visuals of benches. There is a water feature that will be a drinking fountain for both, people and dogs. But as you can see, what we did on these plans too was reduce the entrance, hardscape, the entrance. And we, removed the water feature, or washing feature as at the request of council. Now, the areas on the outside, we haven't decided how big the edges will be as far as the space between the green turf that you're seeing there in the middle. But once we decide on how big of space that is, we'll decide on the actual makeup of it. It could be a DG, it could be, it looks like it's gonna be more of a mulch, but we haven't decided that yet. So there's a lot of things that we haven't decided on materials yet. But that is going to be some kind of natural surfacing on the outside. And there's gonna be some natural features like logs and boulders, and we don't have exact placement, but some of those you can see an example on this photo right here. There'll be trees. We have some renderings of where the new trees will be. Existing trees are somewhat outlined. They will provide shade, but they will also provide some leaf droppage as well. So we're gonna see how we can maintain those to minimize that effect. And then some of the picnic spaces that we'll have, we'll put some furniture around there. And for those that I've spoken to about maintenance of a dog park, a lot of times the mobile chairs and benches and stuff work better in dog parks sometimes because the dogs like running and they don't want to run into those hard things like we have out in our current dog run here. So we're working on a lot of the supply issues and drainage issues that come with that. With the rain and stuff like that on the hardscape and going into the natural turf. Moving into the green areas, you see in the middle, the green spaces represent the turf space, which at this point, as directed by council, we're considering artificial and synthetic turfs. Right, we have done some research, the architect has done some research, and actually what was great about that is we did separate research based on some of the direction that council was telling us to follow. To select a synthetic turf, we actually came up with the same top two. So we're down to two, which I will share with everyone that the two synthetic turf recommendations that we are going to consider. We have not made a decision on who it's going to be, but it's going to be a canine grass from Forever Lawn. This one, Forever Lawn is, I believe, the company, and it would be the canine grass product is what we're considering. And the other company is Synlawn,
How do you spell that?
Synlawn,
Sinwan.
Synlawn, and that would be their pet platinum that we're looking at. So those are the two things, and you can find all of their information on their websites, so including any kind of PFAS statements and stuff like that. So which is what we selected. So, and I'm sure that will be a discussion at the council meeting.
Okay.
So, okay, next one. So what we're looking at now is the same rendering of the park itself, but if you can, oh,
I can make it slightly
thanks, that
larger.
helps. Yeah. So what we're suggesting for the art recommendation is, are the spaces that you see in red, in the red outline, dotted outline. One of them being the long fence that goes across, borders the parking lot to the library. And also that center square in there is some fencing areas for in between the two dog parks and the shade structure. Okay, so the shade structure is what we're focusing in the middle part. I'm sorry. The entry sign is going to be the fencing on the southeast corner of the page there. That's surrounded in the red dot rectangle there. So and we're going to show you photos. So yeah, so the entry sign, the shade structure, and the perimeter fencing would be considerations. So next one. So this is an art concept of the shade structure that we're considering, for recommendation in the dog park. The architect has used stuff like this. This is a laser cut aluminum panels, with a blind pattern, and it's adequate shade at 20 by 20. Just as, for reference, a 10 by 10 is usually your standard EZA. So you're looking at probably about twice that size, and that would be right in the middle and covering both the small dog area and all dog area as well. That's one. This would be a standard shade structure. So this also is an option, but it would be something similar to this. Obviously in the size that we would want, should we go without the art. So we'll have some kind of standard shade structure in there as requested by council and all the public meetings that we've had, is some kind of shade component. But this is just an example of what we would be going for, if we don't do the art aspect. Now, the fence panels, the fence, standard fence, and I don't think we have an example of the standard fence, but, the standard fence that we would have on this, most dog parks are, a lot of dog parks, not most, but a lot of dog parks are just a chain link, usually coated. But what's going on right now at the dog parks is more of a invisible fence or, transparent fence that they're looking, where the wire is of a gauge that's thinner, but it actually goes straight up and down, so you can see through it a lot easier. We've actually looked at, I forgot exactly the name of the company that does that, but there's more companies that are doing it. So it's more of a see-through fence and everything. This concept, this art panel concept, we haven't decided what the panels would look like, but are some examples of the panels that we can use on the library side is what we're recommending. Doesn't have to be the whole park, because we don't want to spend that kind of money. But also, I think the need would be a little more pleasant look coming from the library parking lot aspect of that. So these are some examples of what we would recommend, and we've taken into consideration the cost increases. Other fence enhancements that we discussed, now this would be moving towards the front entrance, as we saw in the rectangle, the red rectangle at the beginning, is possible dog silhouette kick plates. This is not something, definitely is not necessary, but we want to include that in the discussion with the commission here to see if that's something that we want to invest in. It is a fairly minimal cost, but we could definitely reduce the expenditure if we choose not to do any kind of dog silhouettes. And actually, we're something else that we'll be taking into consideration today is actually a possible name suggestion. So we're not going to name it at this meeting here, but actually, what are we going to call this dog park? The architect put together a couple of possibilities. I think they brainstormed within themselves, and the project manager, my project manager, and I talked about their examples that they gave, which you'll see right now. And here's one of them. And we're not sold on anything that they gave us. But just here's some examples to give to you, and maybe the commission can start thinking about some things. Another option that we have is maybe even putting it out to the public on like a survey / contest. Yes, a contest. So that was also a suggestion that the commission put that out, or work with staff to put something out to the public and say, let's come up with some names, or maybe we come up with names and have them vote on it. We can work on that as a commission to see what comes. We have plenty of months to do that. But at some point we need to get these signs cut and stuff like that. Right?
That was fun.
So yeah, that could be part of the discussion here. So the three signs that they came up with, Canine Commons, the Leash Lounge, Open Collar. So those are the three that are giving as examples, something similar to that moving forward for that discussion, for that public outreach on possible naming contest. But I think that's a start. It's definitely not complete. So with that, I open it up to the commission immediately for any clarifying questions on what was just presented.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, interrupt one moment, please. Don't we need to acknowledge that?
I don't
Okay,
think
you're.
you're.
Okay, should be a good publicly.
I mean, I was
Okay.
not in that. but
Okay, good.
we're-
All right.
Thank you.
Mr.
Yes, okay, so just kind of in order of how you presented Okay. First question has to do with, you mentioned the brown areas that aren't hardscape could be, DT or mulch. It hasn't been decided. When you say mulch, what do you mean?
More of the wood chip fibers,
Okay.
but they're not wood, they're actually manufactured wood, so they're soft.
Are they
soft-
artificial or natural?
They are, I think it's a mix, it's a composite,
Okay.
but that's definitely hasn't been decided. Honestly, to tell you the truth, we're leaning towards PG.
I prefer DT. Okay, next, you said, picnic area, so I immediately go to food and drink.
Yeah.
Are humans allowed to picnic inside the dog park?
I use the term picnic area as in picnic table.
Table,
It's a distinction between the table, the picnic table, and a bench.
thank you. Then, oh, the shade structure. Whether we do a standard product, I assume the shade structure is some permeable thing, or we do the artistic, which was definitely permeable. For either option, is there an upgrade that allows it to become rainproof so that people can use the dog park and protect the humans?
Yeah, and that's something that was the example that we gave, the artistic, I think we'll look into it. And like I said, these are all just examples, we haven't decided on anything yet.
It could be a seasonal thing, like only put up in the winter or something like that, or spring or whatever. Next question is on the fence panels. When you said that some parks are doing this vertical see-through fence versus the coated chain link, I wondered if anybody is going to look into whether staff would do it or we could do it. My familiarity with see-through fences at different parks is that they always increase the activity of dogs because they notice bikes going by, cars going by, and humans going by, dumb kids teasing them through the window or the glass. Is that a consideration? Is the reactivity of dogs going to be a consideration in choosing the surface of the fence?
Yeah, yes, we talk about this all the time and we have all those considerations and as an example, I'll give the in-ground permanent benches as an example of something that we've learned over the years. Best practices is don't use those because dogs like running along the fences and
And
I'm
humans-
sorry, but frankly, they don't understand and they don't get that. So we try to avoid stuff like that along fences. With fences, we will take it into consideration, but as far as best practices go, this is usually a good fence because the kids won't climb in over the fence and stuff like that. It's more of just a slotted type of thing. You'll see them, and it's less of more of a fencing. I know there's a chain link. I don't know, there's a connotation with chain link being very enclosed and stuff. These fences are definitely more, if I can give you an example, I'll try, but they're definitely more aesthetically pleasing.
Sure. Are they more expensive than chain link?
I have not talked to the architect about that.
Okay. That was it.
Thank you. Mr. Morris, do you have any clarifying questions?
No.
Mr.
No.
Young? Mr. Young?
Yeah, sorry, I'm late.
No.
This is the 6:30 start, I thought it was 7, so sorry about that.
No problem.
I want to be careful, I don't ask things that have already been,
It's
Yeah,
it's okay.
so, the only question I had was the dog silhouettes. Can they be placed up on the chain link fence at different spots, you know, as opposed to, I mean, that could be the art in a way.
Yeah, it can be. We'll see what we can do. As someone will work with the architect to find the best location. Right now, we're looking at the entrance areas for the fencing, depending on if we get approvals for the artistic side of the library border. Then we could look at placing it around. The plan though is for the soccer side of the field. One side of the fencing is gonna be up against another fence, and it's gonna be up on
Right.
that parcel out there. But the other side will be the soccer side, and the interest here is, in the presentation, is, and it may not be represented properly, but we'll have some kind of plantings there to try to screen the kids playing soccer and the dogs on the outside and stuff like that. So that's the plan. So the best place for those dog silhouettes would be more towards the entrance. It definitely could be on the library side. if we don't get an approval to use the art funds for the part of artistic events.
Yeah, then the only other thing was, let's talk about is the cost, right, which is, comes later, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get a cost estimate, for construction, but it looks like we're still on schedule. We'll have to do some value engineering at some point, but other than that, I think we're on cost right now, at least. We're close.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I guess we'll move to public comment. Are there any public comments?
We have three.
Okay,
In the order received, we have Andrea.
okay, so 2 minutes. And then if you, as you come up and speak, if you could just announce who you are and then the spelling of your name, that would be. helpful.
I actually did the spelling.
You have spelled-
And I can share that with the commissioners.
If you can stand by the flag up there,
Yeah, so
appreciate
you're
it.
closer to the.
Don't worry, we're not
Thank
gonna
you very much.
I don't have to be visible while I'm speaking, do I?
No,
Oh, okay, so from here,
Perfect.
Andrea Wald. I had no idea till sitting through the meeting this evening what the consultant would present to you committee members. So preparing my public comment in advance was extremely challenging. I was at the meeting when city council members voted to approve artificial turf, and to be honest, was quite devastated. I spoke up at the meeting about why artificial turf is not the best choice and also sent follow-up emails. The last one was this past Friday night, which was sent to city council, Parks and Arts committee members and environmental committee members. In that email, I made a point of bringing up the requirements set forth by city council for any artificial turf that is being considered that cannot be met. I must say how extremely disappointed that I never heard back from a single individual that I emailed. I hope you've all read through those emails. Included in that email was a link to a report done by Fairfax County Park Authority after they did a study of designs for dog parks. Their preferred choice is a material that is made of crushed stone. The report provides substantial support info on why this is preferred over any other ground covering for dog parks. To summarize, direction from City Council was that it should be environmentally safe, biodegradable, and take into account the latest technology to limit or eliminate any negative impacts associated with installation. There has been no artificial turf manufactured to date that is not tested to contain PFAS when testing is done by independent organizations and not the manufacturer themselves. Even the president and the CEO of the Synthetic Turf Council has confirmed that there is PFAS in their products. Please understand, all artificial turf is plastic. Therefore, artificial turf is not environmentally safe, nor biodegradable. It can take hundreds of years to break down into micro and nanoplastics, but it does not biodegrade, and the PFAS chemicals are called forever chemicals because they also will never go away. There is very little recycling of artificial turf, especially in California. Such small amounts, like the dog parks, generally end up in landfill. I hope you will not approve the use of artificial turf in your newest dog park design. It is your duty to protect the environment and health of future generations, especially those in your city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, not only for writing your letter, but also for coming down here on Tuesday night. Thank you
Well, I
very much.
know you're not voting on the turf, it's
Yeah.
already been voted on,
They have the feedback.
but the turf cannot meet the requirements that were set forth.
Thank you
And
so
you're
much.
on time.
I'm sorry?
And you're on time.
Oh, I only had 2 minutes, I didn't practice. Thank
Well,
you.
you
Most
did a
folks
good
get
job.
three.
Next speaker?
The second speaker is it Rashina? Yes.
Can you spell for me, please?
RAASHINA. And I'll include it, I'll try to send the minutes this evening. I'm off on Friday. I will send the minutes early next week so you can have all of them. And you can begin.
Hi, thank you for the time. My name is Rashina Humayun. I'm Chair of the Environmental Commission, but I'm here speaking as a private individual today. I understand and I will acknowledge the previous speaker's comments. I would really urge the commission to recommend to council to reconsider their option for using artificial turf. There are several direct and indirect short-term and long-term environmental impacts, including the fact that it gets hot. It adds to the heat island effect in our city. The fact that it is plastic-based and will lead to short-term pollution of microplastics through our sewers and our storm drains. No matter how sturdy it is, it will degrade, especially when dogs run on it, and it will causes microplastics to get into our water stream. It will, also it's considered things that use less water maybe look better, because of, dog urine, etc. But there are sanitary impacts where dog urine on the turf has to be washed off. Otherwise, there's ammonia, other, other issues, sanitary issues and, pleasantness issues, which is something we're considered, highly considered when, chose not to use a natural turf, for the system. Long term, of course, these things are, no matter what we say, these things are not going to be recyclable, especially given the use and tear that will go to landfills, where they'll continue to add to the pollution. Even if the underlayer is an organic material, it is still it is still something that will add to the environment because it's a processed organic material. So whatever we consider, however we stated, these things do not meet the criteria that council set forth, as mentioned by the previous previous speaker. It's not biodegradable and it doesn't meet any of the criteria. I was just looking again at different types of
Thank you
natural
so
turf
much.
as well.
Thank you very much for coming down here on Tuesday night. Really appreciate it.
Our final speaker is Carl.
It's dangerous, I'm hopefully in the shot. Hi, my name is Carl Van Rice. I'm on the Environmental Commission, but I'm speaking tonight as an individual. I did previously look into Sinlon in particular because they have this USDA certified product. My concern is that they mentioned pretty readily that they only were able to replace 60% of the petroleum on a particular component, which still leaves 40%. So our definitions of what environmentally friendly, I think, don't necessarily meet up. And I think that needs further digging into. And so I certainly will do my due diligence to research more about these two. And I hope and urge you to as well. As well, just while we're talking on this topic about the dog park, two particular aspects of the climate action adaptation plan come to mind for me. One, that we have a directive to try to create a circular economy, and two, to try to divert waste. And this one in particular, where we know natural grass can serve these functions generally, I don't think it sets a good example for citizens, and I don't want them to get the wrong idea that this is what they should be putting in their yards, even though obviously this is a higher dog traffic area. So I'm sympathetic to that. The trample aspect, I think about the SF Giants, they have grass there and they're dealing with cleats. And so I think that can deal with dog park. So, I think there's ways to work around it. And so I urge you to keep exploring that, both Rose City and this commission. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your coming down here.
And you did great for somebody who's supposedly shy.
Yeah, that's it.
It's awesome.
Right, so any further public comment?
No, those are our.
I think we can now open it up for discussion. Does anyone want to kick this off?
I can, sure. Okay, I'm super excited about the decorative features. I'm in support of them. Our past park director, Donna Leggett, gave her a bunch of information about these sorts of things when we went to the CPRS event that we went to 500 years ago. I would love to see something, so I like the shade structure having a design to it too. My comments about that would be, I would hope that we could position it in a way that could utilize the sun in an effective way seasonally. So, so that it's not burning hot in the summer, but it does capture it in the winter. If there's a way to do that, to position it would be great. I don't care for the solid shade structure because I think it would be rather warm underneath it. The designer type paneling, I love the idea. I would love to see the dog paw option that's out there and available, which is super cute. I'm not sure doing the entire fence as that would be super desirable, but mixing it with an oak and dog park, oak and dog park idea or some sort of mix would be nice. Not like every other panel because that could get tacky, but something really classy that goes with the rest of the community center that has that lovely wood and kind of metal feel to it. I'm not a big, huge fan, if they're gonna be green in particular, of the dog silhouettes, but if they were used to identify the dog areas, the small and large dog areas, so that small was with the small and large was with the large, that would be great. I'm not a fan of any of the names, sorry. I am in 100% agreement with the speakers that came this evening. I think it is completely irresponsible to use, fake turf. I've been clear on that all the years that I've been on this commission. We go to war to get oil to make plastic, so I'm not in support of that for that reason, but I'm also, the PFAS issue is big. There's a movie called The Plastic Island. I would recommend people read or watch, because you find out how many fish and birds are dying and whales are dying from being stuffed full of microplastics. They can't eat anymore. They can't push those things through their bodies, so they die. Microplastics are a huge big deal for us, for our children, for all of our animals on the planet. We do not ever get rid of plastic. We can recycle some of it, but usually not this. Also, what's underneath is usually not environmentally friendly.
I just want to remind you that that's not obviously for the commission.
Well,
I mean, I
turf
get
isn't-
that.
sorry, okay,
The-
okay, sorry.
Participants, speakers.
Okay.
But what.
I'll get back on it.
Is
Okay.
to support the $70,000 for the.
Okay.
Company.
So I am in support of that, and those things I mentioned would be great to have it worked out so that we do that. And the only other thing, I'd like to see more art in the dog park. If we can do it like a dog bone bench or something, that a fire hydrant sculpture gives the dogs.
That's a
something
good
to-
suggestion. I see it being written down.
Hey.
Yeah, no, I'm taking notes on all the suggestions.
Sorry,
Your
I'm playing.
suggestion in full
Sorry, I'm
is you
teacher.
no artificial turf, I understand.
Yeah, I'd like us to work on.
Thank you so much. Anything else?
And also with slat fencing. So the chain link fencing, what's nice about it is air goes through it. It's an inexpensive material, so I can see using that. The coated stuff though does wear over time, which would mean we'd have to redo it, whereas maybe a plain chain link wouldn't do that as much. But what about something like a wood slat with a metal mix or something that's a little classier in some of those areas? But I really, I like the direction we're going.
If I could respond to that. Yeah, that was considered, and in fact, my project manager prefers the wood framed, metal slatted, it's.
Really expensive.
Yeah. it's
I have
very
champagne
expensive.
Yeah. I do.
We did not consider it, that was our.
Okay, but maybe there's something like that.
But yeah,
you
but it
know?
hasn't been decided,
Yeah.
he's,
There'll be some,
he's trying to get it.
okay.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Victoria, do you have any thoughts? or
I'm
comments?
supportive of the art concept, shade structure, and off of what Teresa was saying, maybe we can have the slats somehow, go so the sun isn't beating down on the really hot days. I'm not exactly sure how that could work. I just use umbrellas in my house, but, I also really like the idea of a small silhouette on the small dog park area and a big dog silhouette on the other area. I also like the fence panels. I'm just worried about how much that's gonna be and how much our budget will be. I actually have coated chain link fence on my yard and it's been there for 20 years and it's still fine, so. That's all my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Victoria. Commissioner Young, just so that you know, so we're focused on what the topic is before the commission, which is whether we would approve the use of $70,000 from the public art fund to put public art sculpture and fencing and artistic elements to the dog park. So that's what's before us, whether we support that and recommend it to the city council. or not.
Chairman, if I may, and also you're welcome to make comments
Oh, yeah.
on what you saw in the dog park, but we'll just take those notes and comments those.
Any thoughts, comments?
Well, in some ways, I'm a little concerned because this reminds me of the city hall. You know, out the doorway and all that other stuff, so I think we have to be really careful about and considerate about what we do and the cost and what makes sense and so on. So I think using art prudently in that area makes a lot of sense. And I would support it, but again, this, for me, is you weigh that against the cost and what's the best value? Right, for what you get. There's some very good ideas in there. And I think we could take a look at them, incorporate what makes sense and go from there.
And the cost, I don't know if you saw, but the cost that's being requested is 70,000. That would be the upcharge. So that's it, 70,000, that's it, and that would be our cost. So
Okay,
make sure you understand that part. Yeah.
that's already set aside.
That's already set as an amount that we're requesting. And if not, we just do the dog park and we
Yeah.
look at it down the road or whatever,
Right.
but I think that's an opportunity
Yeah.
to ask for that.
I
That's
always
all.
think in this situation, less is better. Right, but that's just me.
Thank you very much. Great points. Commissioner Bellafus?
Yes, thank you. I'm in favor of art components. I'm more in favor of art components that, people outside the park can see than art components inside the park that dog park users can see. If there's $1 to be traded, I'd rather do the former than the latter, and the reason for that, is to disguise and to make the dog park seem beautiful from the outside for those that don't care about dog parks. In particular, the library people, I know that they don't want to see a dog park, so this would be a beautiful way for them not to see it. It also helps to stop dog reactivity if it has some level of opacity to it, and I'm talking about the fencing, obviously. I'm a big fan of the shade because it's a prohibitant, it prohibits people from using the park as much as rain and lack of grass prohibits people from using the park. Too much sun is not good for dogs or humans, they need breaks. I do like the artistic, I actually like the leaves, the design that was proposed versus some of the more graphic ones on the right. I agree with sun functionality, it's the south is that. So you can design, the experts know how to design it to help manage sun and heat, and airflow. So I would trust them. In terms of the dog silhouettes, I'm a fan of kick plates on gate entries. So whether it's just a rectangular panel that an owner can kick to close or open the gate, with whatever they're trying to do, and to provide that small shield of visual to a smaller dog, they tend to be more tentative. I like it. So if you want to turn that into a dog silhouette, I'm neutral. I'm not against it. I'm not favor, but I do love kick plates. They're very functional. With regard to using the dog silhouettes to distinguish large and small areas, I think that's a good idea. It's just that we don't want to turn the big area to only a big dog area. So we would probably put both there and put a little dog in the little area. And I'm fine with that. I would not prefer the silhouettes to be used as a main fencing decoration, more of a sign or a signal to the functionality, or on the entrance gates as kick plates. With regard to the kind of fencing, I'm surprised that I don't see a certain community organization here to talk about art on that fence, the library side fence. Because it seems to me that if cost is a concern, I know that wood is beautiful, but it's expensive and it costs a lot to maintain. And if you use cheap wood, it's even more to maintain and you have to replace it. So it's got to be some kind of metal thing or some alternative material. I'm fine with chain link, but I would really love to make it beautiful. That's the one wall that should be beautiful, whether it's done in metal, such as this laser cut aluminum. Is it aluminum or does it get coated with something?
I'll have to look.
Because, there's also the stuff that we were thinking about for the other.
Right.
It's very
Yes.
messy. And then there's also, is there a way to make a solid wall that could be painted or somehow decorated? Then you could invite the community to help create that thing. It could also change over time because it can get redecorated. So that's something that maybe, just throwing it out there. I totally love that fence that was proposed. I totally love it. It's very elegant, it's
Yeah.
consistent, it's beautiful. Maybe, I don't know if the idea of involving the community is something that gets decorated or painted, might be interesting. With regard to the features, I didn't know what those little red squares were. Are those chairs? There are a bunch of little red squares.
In
Was that, when there was the, kind of like a dotted line?
No, no, in the future of the design,
We'll all go back and try to
I
find
think it's furniture.
please.
Oh, it's the second
the,
slide.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
are, I think those are just samples of chips.
Okay, so they're movable, they're not structured. In terms of the design of the park, I wanted a little bit more elaboration on the agility. So you're saying the agility components would be spread out around the park towards the edges? Is that what I heard you say?
There's no agility components.
Oh,
We
no
have
agility.
some boulders, the idea is some natural surfacing materials, boulders, logs and stuff that we will, put at the perimeters. But outside of that, we've taken out any of the play agility things, and I know that was a
So
recommendation,
no ramp,
but no ramps, no, jump on things and stuff like that, that was, help. Help when we were putting things together, when people were helping us with examples. Yeah, we decided because that was pushed into the middle and it took up a lot of the run space. So this, through the suggestion of the architect, which we agreed with, there's more space in this park than was initially conceptualized.
all right, well, I would say for my input, I don't agree with that. I don't think we need to have the agility area. I would agree with dispersing it, or at least having one agility. Probably the most important agility feature for dogs in terms of training is the walk-up ramp and the walk-down ramp. That thing is so useful to any kind of training because it requires trust between the dog and the owner. It's great for puppies, it's great for older dogs, it's great for mature dogs. And that could be over to the side or something, you know, it could be, it's just one thing. It's the one thing that is not for training a dog to be agile, it's to train a dog to trust their owner. And it's very important for dog training. So that's the only one that I kind of hang my hat on. If there was a way to have the walk up, walk and walk, it's called a ramp and beam.
I understand.
That's what I would hang my hat on. The rest, you could let it go.
Great.
Or trainers could bring it in as mobile
Yeah.
devices.
That's your point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I'm super excited about allocating public art funds for this purpose, because if you think about it, the location is gonna be right across from state-of-the-art, beautifully designed community center, in front of the library, in front of the museum, and I think to your point, we want the fence to be beautiful. I mean, so, and to obscure a little bit the park, but, and I think 70,000 is very reasonable, and it's not actually, we're not saying we're gonna spend $70,000, we're saying we're gonna recommend that there's a budget of up to 70,000, so that you can go and figure out what are the options, is that correct?
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct. I mean, if we decide that, I mean, just the reduction of any kind of the kick plate at the beginning could change that upgrade price. I mean, that's a full upgrade on those. But the fencing, we're gonna spend money on fencing anyway. That's an upgrade price for the artistic fencing. We're gonna spend money on the shade structure anyway. It's an upgrade price for that as well. So, should we choose, some other, material or artistic, vendor, it may be less, but it won't be more. The 70,000 will just add to the project. I can tell you, we'll probably spend the full on, because once again, you've got a price already for the fence. It's just that upgrade price, so we will exhaust the
It's
70,000.
actually not.
But if we do cut back on some of the things and the fencing cost isn't the cost that we're allocating plus the artistic, then yeah, it will be less than.
Any questions? Does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
May I just add there? One thing I thought of for the laser cut panels. Because Commissioner Valdez made a good point about the rain. Is there one idea might be to take the panels that have a trim of solid, metal around it, and then you have some laser in the middle, so that edges at least would be protected, would protect from rain. And it might cut the cost down on that particular thing as well. The other is, I actually really like the idea of a potential for like a mural wall or art wall
Or even
on that library area. Yeah, so I don't know, I mean, that's talking about a whole nother layer, of use there, or effort there to think about that, but that idea is kind of a neat idea to me.
I've got that.
Okay,
more consistent, yeah.
Let's go with this.
yeah, I would like to make a motion.
Okay,
I would like to move that the commission, I'd like to move that the commission approve the $70,000 expenditure out of the Public Arts Fund for the purposes of the artistic components so described, including the shade structure, the fencing, and take a place. And I just want to leave it at take place.
I second the motion.
To clarify the motion though, this is not, the request is not coming out of the current budget or upcoming budget. So it's not gonna affect the budget that we've already set for this commission. This is additional funds. So the recommendation will be a recommendation of city council to use our funds.
Yes.
So that's all, you would just say, you recommend to council the use of 70,000 for all of those things.
Yes,
So-
and I so recommend.
And I so,
Yeah.
second the amendment.
okay,
Okay, I have that. Chair Corrigan,
yes.
Vice Chair Couture,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Valadez,
Yes,
and Commissioner Young.
Yes.
That passes unanimously.
Thank you for coming to speak. All right, so moving on to the next agenda item, which is compass turtle purchase. And when you're ready, I think there may be a staff report.
Do you want the
Can you
picture?
show the picture just so there's no?
Uh-huh.
So the item before this commission is to approve the use of current year art funds, that's 24-25 art funds. That's already been allocated for the purchase of the compass turtle located at Grant Park. So further clarification on this is this piece of art that you see on the screen now, the compass turtle, was acquired by the city through a loan program. So it was a 2-year loan. That 2-year loan is up on July 1st. And so the artist would like it back. He lives in New Mexico, I know who it is. And so with that, she was gonna take it back. I did want to question her because we have lost a lot of art recently from those loans being up and not being on top of actually replacing them. So I wanted to just put it in front of this commission. If this is desired by the commission to actually keep this, we could do one of two things, is re-up another 2-year loan at the standard cost of, I believe, $1,500 is what it was in the past. I'll talk to her about that again. But she has put a sale price on it of $9,000. And we actually have funds in the current year, and that current year funding is gonna close July 1st anyway. Because think about it, June 30th. If you think about the money that we didn't spend on any purchases outside of that, we just have the one other purchase of the replacement of the seasonal change one.
Right.
I think that's what I think, right? As well as we did not spend money on the art at the council chambers as well. So we do have some funds available. This fiscal year will not affect the budget going into July.
and that doesn't carry over, it's zero-based budgeting, so we.
Yes, so we would just drop it in. We've already asked for the money for next year, the 73, I believe it was, for next year. So that's already been approved by the council too as well. So this money will just continue to stay in the art fund rather than be allocated for any more expenditures. So you do have the funding for this fiscal year to spend on it.
Wait, so it stays in the art fund
Yeah.
into the next fiscal year?
No, it'll just stay in the art fund. So remember, the art fund is up here as a certain amount, which I think I put in the report.
Yeah,
Yes.
122.
No, if I didn't, I'll.
So far, we've spent 88.
I believe it's like,
Well,
it's something, it's almost 300, yeah. But in anyhow, what was allocated for this current fiscal year was 122. And that money will,
122 allocated.
yeah, 122 allocated, $9,000 for this. We haven't spent, we have the funding to do it this fiscal year. Now, when I say it stays in the art fund, that means you can consider it going back to the art fund. It was allocated from the art fund. We're not gonna spend it because we've already asked for the money this commission needs next year. That money will just go back.
I see. So the art fund is over here in the budget, so.
I speak in terms of the art fund is one big fund and we've earmarked 120 for the art fund. And that will just stay in there if we don't spend.
So the actual art fund is that 300. you think,
Yes,
somewhere around there.
approximately 300,000.
Okay, So of the 122, and we spent 88,380, right?
So whatever has not been spent, if I understand this correctly, is gonna roll over. It's not gonna go away, right?
No, it's not gonna roll over. It's gonna stay in the general park fund.
Okay, so as an example, we could use it for the dog park.
That's probably money that you could say will be used for the dog park, because if it's approved by council, that money will be requested from council, because it's not in the budget.
Yeah.
And part of that will come
Okay.
back to the dog.
An example of something near
Yeah.
term, that as an alternative to purchasing this, we could use this back.
I mean, the question before you is, do we wanna pay $9,000 for this art and we'll
Right.
keep it there? Do we wanna own it? And I think that was a goal of the art commission. I mean,
I think it was, and I think the
It's the
intent
buy-
was to keep it, and as you may recall, there was another piece of art that was there that was removed because it was damaged, it was Henry, the dog. And so right now,
Grant Park won't have.
yeah, Grant Park would be down to one piece of
Yeah.
art, and that's actually an issue we're gonna have to talk about later
another
for
call.
other
Yeah.
parks, but the cost of $9,000, I think, is really reasonable, particularly given that if we have to ship it back, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be several $1,000s anyway. So, and I can't tell from my beautiful new brochure how good this piece looks, maybe you can, against the backdrop, and the colors, as you can see, they kind of match. So,
It's actually a nice piece, and I hate to get rid of it on Grant Park, because Grant Park is really, it would be a shame, because now, just.
I think you were in charge of placing it there.
Yes, but that doesn't matter, because
But
I
you,
don't take those things personally, but
yeah,
it's a really nice piece, and people like it a lot.
people like it, so.
So are we moving to discussion, and is there any other?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm
clarification?
sorry.
I have a clarification.
Yeah,
Okay.
Which is, how many other, pieces of art, cause you made the comment, we've lost many. How many pieces of art are in a similar situation where they're getting ready to, you anticipate that the artist is gonna ask for them back?
I can't answer that off the top of my head, but I will say that the last meeting, we discussed seasonal rotation, which is ending, the artist wants it back. And at that meeting, we agreed to take one of her other pieces and do along with that. So, I think the more, I think a more pressing question that we can't discuss today is, looking at the balance of art that is located in different parks. We have one park that has no art. It's all been taken back by the
Which
artists.
is
Heritage.
Okay.
Yeah, the turtles.
Cause I'm just saying, okay, we've got 33.6 thousand dollars, of which we wanna spend 9K. And that which now, then that would leave, some more money, that we could buy some more art, some heritage jokes or whatever. Or do we re-up this for 1,500, and then that allows us to have more money for new art at Heritage?
I'm thinking for the price, it's better to go with the purchase because, otherwise, if the artist will even agree to re-up, that's another $1,500 out the door where the city doesn't get a tangible return or asset back.
And she might raise the price.
Yeah, she might raise the price, because that has happened to us before.
We have had
And-
nothing.
And to answer your question about how we get the art placed and how we decide to purchase, has been, it doesn't have to be this way, but it has been that we do the call for art.
Yeah.
And then we choose things and we test them out, and with this one, this ended up being really popular.
Okay, thank you, that, and
Okay.
and a little more clarification on that.
More clarification?
As much as you had alluded to, if we have this amount of money, we spend 9,000 of it, we don't, we still have this. That's going, once again, we go back to, that's going back into the fund on July 1st.
and we don't have,
That's 2 weeks from now.
we don't have time to do a call for.
Exactly, the call for art will take time to spend that money.
Okay,
Any,
thank you, that clarifies.
any other clarified questions? Any, discussion? Or actually, wait, is there any public?
There are no
Oh,
public
okay.
on this piece.
Okay, so any discussion?
Okay.
Does anyone want to make a motion to purchase the art for
I
$9,000?
do have one question.
Yeah.
How do you determine whether or not the public really likes the piece?
Oh, the only thing I can tell you is by the testimony that I've had from people at Grant Park.
Let's say, okay, yeah, right. This was really, really good. And then one other thing is, we buy this art, she has a whole write-up about the art piece. Can we get that information put with the art, with the sculpture? Because it really explains what this is all about. And when I read it, I became more attached to the art.
I don't know, Dr. Hernandez, if we can talk about that now, but I think that goes along with the discussion of the plaques.
Yeah, but I would believe so, and that would be up to the commission,
Okay,
and I'm not familiar with the process to do that,
Okay.
so hopefully the
We'll
commission
figure
could
it
help.
Okay.
Is that-
Stop out with that.
Is that something that you would have to agendize?
I believe so, yeah. You
Okay.
would
Right, so
you would
the-
probably wanna do that when you're doing all the art.
Okay, well, we do.
Preparations for call for art. Yeah,
Okay,
that's what.
Okay, that's perfect.
I
Thank you.
support buying it, if we can put the
Get that,
information.
yeah,
on
we
there.
should.
Yeah, I think it's an important piece that's
Yes.
needed with that. And I defer to the art commissioners.
You wanna make a motion?
I move that we go ahead and recommend to purchase, the Compass Turtle, sculpture as soon as we can.
A second?
Oh, yes.
Okay, Chair Corrigan,
Yes.
Vice Chair Patel,
Yes,
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Valdez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Young.
I'm gonna abstain, I just don't have the background.
Okay, it still passes. With 4 votes.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item, we have, commission involvement in the Family Fun Day event, and I'm going to turn it over, well, actually, is there a staff report?
No.
Very brief, I mean, like it. Yeah, it's more about, the conversations with
Okay.
staff, so I think we can turn it over.
All right, so maybe I'll turn it over to Commissioner Morris.
Okay, this will be brief. So I have spoken with staff and, they do want us to work with them on some project that we would be the leads on. They didn't need us this Family Fun Day, which is coming up this Saturday. Because they already had 5 things planned out, so they'll just put us to work in a room, in a space with what they already have. But what I wanted, the reason I asked for it to be put on the agenda is because I'd like to discuss us taking that role of coming up with something to do and then actually planning it. And so we don't have to plan it tonight, but I can come back with some ideas and then maybe we can vote on them. And I can work with staff to see if these ideas would work and then what it would take in order to make, maybe 3, 4 choices available. And then we could vote on, them. But 1 is to give the update, 2 is to say, we need to come up with something and be ready to start pitching in. And the next Family Fun Day is when, not the June one,
Is,
the,
Bring it on here.
no, hold on, it's not, because that's the most recent flyer, but I can get it for you in 1 second.
okay, I'm thinking, it's not quarterly, is it?
No, they're not really.
Oh, here it is. Oh, no, June
No, that's
21st
June.
is the last
Hold
one.
on,
Yeah.
hold on, I have it, because I
Yeah,
get,
we're waiting.
I just built a calendar.
Oh, okay.
So it's just gonna take me a second to find it, because I'm not used to our new website.
And for the public
Did you all know? we have a
watching
new
right now,
website?
if you
Yeah.
website, you can find this, I'll keep going.
Struggled a little bit today.
We're still struggling.
We're still struggling.
It's all.
Okay, the next one is August 9th.
Okay, so August 9th,
The
and I,
theme for that one is superheroes, if you want to take that into account when you're building your potential plans.
okay, thank you.
So what do they want us to do?
We would be the leads on a particular,
Like,
activity.
okay,
So it can be, it doesn't have to be like they have crafts. It doesn't have to be a craft. It just has to be something that we want to be in charge of and that we show up and do.
okay.
So we don't want to require staff to help us with it. We need to be able to lead it and we'll get a space that we can do it.
So we staff it, so to speak.
Exactly. Not only do we staff it, we're gonna come up with the idea, we're gonna implement the idea, and we're gonna staff it.
Okay,
So we can have staff help and probably some money if we need it, but we're in charge of it.
okay.
I mean, I know you've worked with them, Teresa, before,
Yes.
but would it be helpful if I gave some examples? Like, there have been crops.
Yes.
There have been plantings, like there was a spring one, and say
Yeah.
kids were planting seeds. There have been scavenger hunts. There have been rooms that have things that are more physical, so fidget things, or things that people can tap out.
Robotics,
Yes,
yeah.
so
What
there are
age group?
those,
What age group?
It's everybody.
really, it is all over the board. I think probably 3 to 12, you know, is where you're
Yeah, that's a good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes it.
So you do have, more in the smaller age group, but you're definitely have families that have all the way.
I mean, it depends on your project, too. If
That's-
you're shooting only sheets, you're not gonna get 12.
Yeah, right. If we set up a robotics station and publicize it, we'll get all the Ts, right? I have a question though on the timing. You know, that's fine art in the park of the city. That's a huge conflict.
It is.
That's huge.
It's the same day.
We don't pick the day.
You know, oh,
And it has to.
No, it has to work with the community
It
center.
has to work for us.
And staffing.
Community center,
Yeah.
Because we have rentals.
We
Other
just work
stuff.
with
So there's one in August, there's another in October.
And sometimes our staff doesn't see it as a conflict, they see it as a like, hey,
opportunity.
it's an opportunity because on,
Yeah,
July
kids don't
4th
really
event.
wanna go to the arts.
Yeah, our July 4th event is the same day as the parade in the hills, but we see it as an opportunity to get them to come hang out at the event after the parade.
I never really believed that fine art.
Time is only 10 to 1, right? Right,
Ten-
according to this
10 to
structure.
2 usually?
Yeah,
At least that's for June 21st. It's
Okay.
maybe
yeah,
that's
somewhere, but it's somewhere in the.
less, so
Yeah,
not all day.
Huh.
I don't know if that helps you.
No, I have to run a whole booth.
Oh, yeah, you cannot do.
Yeah, it's my booth.
Okay, got it.
So they want this for August? Is that the idea?
August 9th.
August 9th, yeah, I think that's the,
Did Teresa mention?
No,
Oh,
she is.
Flush.
we'll have to second.
I think she needs to,
Sorry,
but I think we're gonna start trying to brainstorm, so we'll want to email her individually,
Yeah,
some thoughts.
yeah.
Yes.
That would help her put some things together. Since she has been so active with family funding over the years and kind of knows what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
'Cause we've had some that are more successful than others.
Is there something that they always wanted to do, but they didn't have enough? Worded?
I think that would be something we have to ask.
Yeah, the concept.
Yeah.
Are you sick?
No,
How are you?
You don't know?
no, I'm not,
Okay.
but I am having allergy attacks periodically, and that's what's.
Well, the allergies are pretty bad this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think, where we left off, what we discussed while you were out doing is, Casey suggested that we could send you potential suggestions, although you clearly are an expert in the area, so you can come up with your own suggestions.
But individually suggestions, so there's not a brown enough, so
Okay.
you can compile the
Yeah.
suggestions that are sent to you.
Good.
Sounds good.
Okay, anything further?
I heard the question about, is there something they've wanted to do that they haven't had the ability to do, so I'll ask that.
I have another question. Is it kind of just, to pick one family fun day, do it at the one after the August one, the October one?
I can ask. I think it was to do more than one.
I think we have to be mindful that I think that there's gonna be there's potential turnover for the commission, I think in October, September, October, so many, if not all of us, well, actually, one of us. So, maybe, so just I would focus on August.
Yeah. Do we have a meeting in July?
You don't. You don't.
Okay.
Actually, that's a good question. I'm wondering if we should schedule a special meeting, because I think we would need to do that to plan for August 9th.
There's another question. How many people are approved to support this on this? I know.
But I don't
also.
Oh, is that an issue?
Yes, it is.
So 3 of us and 1 can't be there. So that'd be you and me. Are you in town?
I can't.
There are many ways though that people can support behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Correct. Oh, okay, yeah.
While not being here that same day.
Input.
Correct, input, preparation,
Yep,
et cetera.
absolutely.
As a member of the public, so could we visit?
Of course.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, you just can't be hands-on.
Okay, all right, okay, anything else?
No, that's it. Right, sorry about the cough.
No, so far, you're okay.
Okay, sorry. I know, people start coughing and they leave the room, you think, they got it. Are they gonna survive?
Okay,
It's just weird. It gets in there. and you
Oh,
can't
all right,
get it
so
out, you know.
yes, we'll now move to the call for art selection community center and gallery, and I hope that everyone had a chance to look at them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so, let's
Are you
start.
just gonna do the voting like we usually do?
I was gonna pull up the art pieces. so,
Yeah, I have,
On,
I have a proposal for everything, but first we're gonna start with the staff report.
Yeah, you too. This iron. I'm gonna shoot my hand.
You find it?
I got it whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah, so. let's go through. So the item in front of the commission at this point is the selection of art for the community center gallery. The recommendation is provided input and select art to be hung at the Los Altos Community Center Gallery right outside the doors, actually. So with that, we have 24 submissions. They should have been all included in your packet. I think I
Yep.
got them.
I'm gonna do the same thing where I turn off the video, so this is slightly larger. I'll turn our video back on after.
We localized the avenues of marketing for this because my illustrated poem was the theme. And right now, in front of you, I think chair, commissioners, if you want to discuss how you want to select them, I think last time it was just your top 3 and you compiled them all, or if you want to, or actually for this one, it would be top 12 or whatever. I don't know exactly how the commission wants to go ahead and put the process together in selecting between the 24, or if they feel that there's 24 that are worthy of going up there, they can look for space for all of them. But in any case, it'll be up to the commission to decide the process and discuss which ones should be at the art gallery.
and for the commission, you can fit all 24 there if you want.
Thank you for that. I have,
You're welcome.
Like on that wall, on that wall.
Yes, there's 2 walls, yeah, but yeah.
I do have a proposal. So there's 6 from one artist.
Yes.
And I think that we should not have 6 from one artist, we should have 1. So what I would propose is maybe what, if we could start with those and just cut down the 6 to maybe 1. And then we can go through, one by one and see if anyone has any objection to the rest. And then we're off and running. That's
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have a small, I have a note, okay.
I don't have a note here in front of
Oh.
me of which ones are from the
I
same
can tell
artist.
you.
I'm so sorry.
It's a 2, 3, 4,
Great.
5,
So let me,
6, and 7.
okay, I'm sorry, can you tell me those numbers again?
Yeah.
2, 7.
3,
4, 5, 6, 7.
5, 6, and 7.
Got it.
Okay, excellent. Okay,
So I'm starting with, slide number 2.
Slide 3.
okay, this one,
Slide 2 is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Bird.
Art number.
So
Are
she
she
meant,
meant,
oh,
she
You
meant,
have the five numbers?
no, you,
Okay, well,
she
we have
meant
one.
the number 2 of
Okay.
of the art,
the
yes.
clump
yes.
picture.
We'll come back to number 1.
Not the
We have to
picture.
come back.
Okay, so this is the first one from the repeat artist.
Okay, excuse me. Well, I didn't like any of them, so.
Oh,
I did.
Okay, so this one I thought, actually, why don't you go? So,
Well, I mean, we can talk about all of them, or I can say, I think number 3, the blue,
Do you want me to just go through all of them and then you can each make a
Okay.
vote?
Okay.
So here's number 2,
what are we voting?
if you wanted to choose one from this, because it's all from the same artist.
I think some of us, I think a couple of us, the 3 of us have already chosen.
I think, okay, so I think 2 of them could be used, and one I'm very strongly in favor of, and the other one I would like to make a pitch, because I don't think you guys would agree, but I wanna make that pitch.
Okay.
The rest I don't think.
Okay, do you want to go?
Okay, so, the one that I think, should be a candidate consideration. It's not one of my faves, but it's a candidate consideration, something great. Dreaming of Blue. Okay, the reason I would like to make a pitch for number 2, the Badass Day, is because mental health is a really big deal in the community, amongst our youth, amongst our teens, and amongst our adults. And so if we have all these, most of the other, there are a couple of other candidates that are also kind of touch on struggle and things, and so maybe that's not it, but that's the pitch here. Again, it's not one of my favorite, but
Okay.
it's, in my view, worthy of consideration.
Okay, Commissioner Morris, you had already said you like,
3,
number 3.
if we're choosing one.
And,
I'm not a fan of any. of them.
You don't like any of them,
No,
okay?
I don't, I
Commissioner
don't like the
Lang?
messages.
Number 3 works for me.
Okay, yeah, I'm number 3 as well.
Okay, good. Done.
Okay, so now, does it make sense? For
I'll
us to
start at the
go-
beginning and
Yeah,
then we can.
perfect.
So what are we voting now? Like,
So I
worthy
think-
of consideration or?
Yes,
no,
we're
or
doing
no?
consideration or not.
No, okay.
At this point, there's room for all of the others that are left.
So we
Like
could,
that,
we could just accept them
Vice
all.
Chair, yeah. But if you want to go through them one by one,
I would like to.
Well, I'm fine with accepting them all, because I've already gone on my head.
Okay, I'm not fine with accepting them.
Okay.
That's okay.
Try to turn it around, are there any that you would not include under any circumstances?
Oh, actually, you have a good point. Yes, there is.
No.
Of the rest of them.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So if I may, Chair, I mean, really,
Yeah.
you just go to each commissioner and say, give us the ones that you don't think are worthy of being hung.
Yeah, I think that's, and actually, I'm looking through, I think the one that I thought was not a good candidate has already been found.
Kicked out.
Yeah, so, yep, no, from my perspective, I think I would be happy going with all of them.
Number 13 is borderline.
13,
I don't like 13.
I like the art,
The art's
the
great.
one liner.
It just doesn't meet the criteria of the whole thing for me.
That's a haiku as far as I'm concerned. Well,
But it's not haiku if it were on board, but it's not.
but keep in mind, I think these are residents, and so we want to be kind of generous in our.
That's right.
Other than that, fine.
13 was the,
Sunflower, trim your face, please.
I have it on the screen.
I think that's kind of, I like, that was kind of.
I really like the artwork on it, but I had the same feeling.
So let's go back to, yes, let me go commissioner by commissioner and ask if there's one piece of art, if there are one or more pieces of art that you absolutely don't want to be candidate. And so, sorry to you, that's it, okay?
So
You said 13.
13.
there's nothing there that's
Okay,
object to.
okay, oh, there's nothing that you object to.
Right.
Okay, all right, Commissioner Couture,
Wait, so that, are you saying you don't want it or you do want it?
he's not objecting.
No, I mean,
Oh, okay, so I thought you were
maybe
asking us
comment,
the ones that we object.
Yeah, and he's not objecting to anything.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Got it.
Commissioner
So I have no objections to the other
The
ones
rest.
that we, yeah, none.
Commissioner Morris?
I'm just reading all of them because I wanted to see.
Are there any you need to look at?
No, thank you. I think that for me, there's none that I just go, oh, no way, Jose.
Okay.
So if the commission feels like do them all because we have the space, I mean, what's nice is people submitted them. I do wish I had a little bit more about the artists, and I think some were better than others, but in the generosity area, I think. Yeah, I mean,
It'll be different.
think how excited, especially some of the kids will be to have their art hang.
Yeah.
I've seen kids come in here with their parents when they
Yeah.
talk about their art, and it's really lovely.
I have some favorites. I mean, number 13 is also the one where I was like, meh, but is it a poem? But, you know, maybe it's a poem to them.
Okay. Commissioner Valdez, is there anything that you,
Yeah, there are several, and I'll tell you why. So 13, I just don't think it meets the criteria. 14. 14, I just, I tend to not back religious, ones, so that's just me. Then jumping down to, I have issues with some of the digital ones that are scalable. To me, I just tend to like art that's drawn,
could you
painted.
give us a number?
Yes. So that's where 18. I'm sorry, not 18. 18 is different. 18. If this was a tiny kid, but this is seems like not a kid, I didn't like it. I didn't even like what it said. So that's just, judgment. I mean, that's just my preference. I don't, 18, I don't think it meets criteria. 19, I thought was also, it's digital. It's just basically a poster. I'm not into it. It can be scaled at will, it's 5x7, it's a postcard, it could be made bigger, it's very dense with words, I don't.
Anything else?
Then, I think that was it. I think that was it. The
Okay.
rest I'm okay with.
Thank you so much. I think in the interest of time, if I'm reading the room right, there are 4 commissioners who are fine with going with everything. If I could get a motion to move in that direction.
I move that we accept the art as submitted, except for 2, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Okay, is there a second for that motion?
Second,
Okay, Commissioner Young. Chair Corrigan,
Yes.
Vice Chair Couture,
Yes.
Commissioner Morris,
Yes.
Commissioner Valadez,
Yes.
and Commissioner Young?
Yes.
That passes unanimously.
Is it too late to talk about it for half a second? Not the choices, but is it too late to say something about this process? Not the choices.
Yeah. I think.
Okay, that's fine.
If you have a suggestion, we could agenda it, so, yeah, how we should do this.
Yes, let's do it.
You could email me anyone.
Yeah, maybe, you just maybe comment on the process, you've got an easier process.
That would be.
Oh, no,
Okay,
that wasn't,
dig it.
it was, I learned some things on this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next agenda item is, informational item, staff updates, a work plan review and update.
Yeah, so I just put this on here for us to, for me to give a little further direction on the work, excuse me, on the work plan itself. It would probably be good for everyone who has an assignment on the work plan, which I think is each and every one of you, on the regular basis to come up with updates and probably starting today.
I have an update.
So when we go around for the commission and, subcommittee,
We gotta change that. I'm
reports,
so sorry.
yeah.
That's me. That's
so the, working pair committee,
ad hoc.
ad hoc or working pairs, yeah, exactly. So those committees, when they give the reports, please be prepared to give something each time. So that's all I wanted to bring up here, something on whatever you're assigning it, even if it's nothing. At least saying we did not meet, I did not make progress in whatever I'm doing, for this month. But we like to go around and share. Corrigan and I will talk about that, just so we're up on everything, because I'd really like to start, we already are. We can basically check off one of the work plan things that we actually went to the farmer's market, which I'm sure we'll hear in a few minutes, how that went. But stuff like that, I'd like to get those, as far as reaching out to other organizations and whatever our duties are. So, that's all I wanted to say on that. Upcoming events, Family Fun Day on June 21st. And the summer concert series dates.
So
for
can
those.
we go back? So I thought for the work plan update that we were gonna go around and just go through the work plan and then say whether, give an update.
We will, but we have to get to the work plan, the commissioner.
Well, the commissioner updates. you can-
Updates. Oh, yeah.
That's where I'm lost. Where?
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Informational items,
Here.
informational.
Okay, so I see staff report, family fun day, upcoming event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do I
Oh, thank you very
work?
much.
Work plan review update is the
It's
first
coming.
one.
First bullet.
Should have been.
It was just, yeah, it is, it is.
Okay.
It was just to highlight that there's a change, that,
Yeah.
that, Director Hernandez and, Chair Corrigan decided that we should just go through all of them each time, even if each person should give an
I
update.
think that's just, it's not on my version of the agenda, that's all.
That's my thing.
No, because there's
Oh,
nothing,
because
See,
when you go to
commissions,
commissioner-
subcommittee reports.
Yeah.
Are you looking at the minutes or the?
No, I'm looking at the.
You got them.
Oh, okay. So that's all, but we'll go ahead and hit all of our assignments on the work plan right now.
Right now?
Subcommission, yeah,
Okay, are you able to project the,
yes,
work plan?
I'm pretty sure, because again, we have a new website.
Okay, well, then I can do it verbally if people are okay with that.
Just use a search. I finally decided that using search is the best.
Well,
Rather than trying to navigate the menus.
We have our website.
The search engine is really good. Just say, park work plan and it'll give you a number.
Give me just a moment, I think should be able to find it.
He's killer at it.
It's a new website, so
Yeah.
we are doing the best we can,
Pretty
but I
challenging.
think I found it. Yes, I do have it. As long as this can't, is this the one? Yeah, it will be, right? Okay, Okay, this is not the one that has the assignments though, so, we'll do what we want. It doesn't have the listing of which commissioners are doing it together.
I can do it, I can lead it.
Okay,
Okay,
because perhaps
I-
they just
I think
pulled
I-
it on.
Need to update it.
Well, so with the new website, they pulled them from past versions.
Yeah.
So we had updated this,
it was updated, I can.
I have, it. Yeah. Do you have it? too?
Yeah, I have it too.
Okay, so you can go down the table of farmer's market.
Okay, so the
Commissioner
first one is table of farmers market for public input on upcoming projects, and it's, we have 2 dates and we completed the June event.
We're halfway there.
Yeah, we're halfway done, so, yeah, do you want to say anything about that, about?
Well, thank you, you and I worked out a report, so I think that's really, everything's contained within that. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody, because literally everyone helped out. So, yeah, that was great. Generally speaking, I think was very successful from the perspective of being able to interact with a large number of the community. People were, made some summary comments, but people are, surprising to me, were a little hesitant to provide feedback, whether it would be verbal or in the survey itself. So, but we did get feedback, and I think some of it was very, very good to have. Some very positive, others, were suggestions on how we might improve things, a variety of things. And, other than that, I think it was well received.
I think it was very well received, and I think everyone did a fantastic job shipping in, and I want, to highlight that Commissioner Young got kudos at the end for how the booth was set up. We had the standee, it had brochures from Parks and Rec, from a new brochure, it also had the, spinner thing, and people love the, giveaways, I think the cloth, tote bag, the people say was the most popular thing there. Everyone wanted it. And then the second thing was probably the water bottle, the USB water bottle. So, yeah, but, and actually there were some 5 and 6-year-olds who wanted a pen. So, yeah,
They
kids love it, yeah. So I think it went really well, so thank you, that was
Our
great.
Slinkies thing.
All right, so,
We had Slinkies planned to take out there as well, and they're full-size
For
Slinkies.
next time.
Well, next time,
Next time, we'll save some for next time.
so gathering input on Mackenzie Park, I believe that's, Commissioner Valdez and Morris, but I think that's still in progress, right?
On McKinsey,
Yeah. Input, or do you have an update?
we completed, we did that. That was our dog park report.
Oh, okay.
It's done.
We approved it there.
All right, we've accomplished things.
I thought you were gonna do more.
No. that-
Okay, so we're done.
did Tons of stats. and-
Okay,
Next to staff.
explore and create partnerships with Art Los Altos for programming and displays, and I know you've got a report on
So
that.
we are having a meeting on the 26th at 1:45.
26.
With
Okay,
Ars Los Altos.
that's in progress. A table at summer concert, that's Commissioner Couture, it's not due till July or August.
Well,
It's
I didn't know I was
August.
supposed to do a table. When I talked to staff, they wanted me to make sure to, announce it. So I went to all the real estate offices and handed out brochures. I also went downtown, talked to people, and I did talk to the lady who's in charge of the classical, and she said she thought there was probably 50 more people there than last year. And then I was at the concert this past Thursday, was it Thursday? And it was, I mean, mobbed. Parking is just crazy. People from, all over the place. Parking, you couldn't find a spot. You had to park, 2, 3, 4 blocks away.
Around with us.
Oh, you went around?
We
Need to
did.
go. Ready to go?
Right
You
in
need
front.
to go
Down left.
down Grant Road, get to Newcastle, come down Newcastle and park on Newcastle. That's the best way. I found out.
So, do we call that done?
No, because there's there's 5 more.
I think the goal of the commission was to actually get a table out there. There were, I think, 3 tables or 2 sponsor tables at this last conference. 2 sponsor tables that were giving out things and getting
And we
information.
should get.
And then there was 1 staff table that was giving away stuff. So maybe even joining, talk to
we worked
staff
with staff.
to,
Yeah, I did.
at the table.
Bridget, well,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
well,
But
much
maybe
to
Bridget
do.
didn't
Once it
know.
starts, they don't want to get up and talk to you. They're too busy dancing.
But maybe Bridget didn't know we were supposed to table.
But,
so-
but the table, once again, the table is gonna be, looks very similar to what happened at the market. It's just giving out information that this commission decides to give out. They wanna do it on the.
So what's the next concert?
Reggae on,
No, when, I'm sorry, when?
it's this Thursday
No,
at Grant Park,
July 10th.
Coast, June 26th,
Coast Tribe.
Coast Tribe, reggae.
That's next, yeah.
Yes, next
By the
Thursday.
way, the Chiefs.
So do we have a plan?
Sorry?
Is July 17th, here we go.
You have a website, the Chiefs Balls?
Yeah. I know.
But the point is, probably everyone's lost tape.
Yeah, I know. So, try, I think it's up to you to figure out the date.
Maybe,
Reach out to staff.
Well,
You can reach out to staff.
Maybe
How-
she
how-
needs
how-
another person.
Yeah.
Bridget, I
And
think-
then, let us know when and where to show up.
question.
well, who's gonna be in town on July 10th? That's my, you know.
Well, that was, leads to my question. It would probably behoove the commission to pick a date where 3 to 4 of us are around. 3 was good, 4 is awesome, 5 is bonus. But, you know, and if Casey can like do a doodle, do a doodle amongst us and then quickly, like this week.
I can send it out tomorrow. with
Okay.
Then,
What,
and
yeah,
then
concert
give
dates are
you
available.
that information.
Yeah, then we'll
Right.
Sure, I'll do that tomorrow.
Okay, perfect, in progress. Host a Project Real Family Fun Day, we've already talked about that, it's August. Host a Halloween movie night, that's coming. Assist PNR staff with, bring a cut, that's done, wait, didn't we? Thank you, David. How did that go, by the way, was it fun? No.
It was
very surprising.
Right? That's why he's like, yeah, that's all right.
It went great. It's fast. It was well organized. It was fun.
Yeah.
What
Fastest.
did we do for it? I missed it.
We just showed up and helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did whatever we were told.
Fastest 30 seconds in referee.
Hand out eggs.
The egg hunt and recreation is a lot of prep and just a
30 seconds.
small little.
That's okay. So, okay, so a moon festival is not till September, that's, Commissioner Valadez. For you to plan, and then Iftar, that's done. Justice Vanguard, that's done. I know you're gonna talk about that. You wanna talk about that?
Yeah, I
Should we
can.
talk? Yeah,
Mhm.
talk about that now.
Yeah, so, per Justice Vanguard's request, we did not have a table, they didn't really have any sponsors there, they only had the Sharks. And it's because the Sharks brought an activity, that, they wanted to have. So, what we did do is we performed duties in service to the event. Specifically, we were, the emergency exit facilitators, so Chair Corrigan and, Commissioner Morris and myself covered the 2 exits for 2 shifts. So, they did 1 shift each on 1 exit and I did 2 shifts on the other exit. Additionally, I helped with some, advertising prior on social media and putting postcards into people's doormats. And hanging, some flyers in businesses. But I came to that pretty late, so I wasn't able to do massive amounts, but I did do some parts. Then the other thing is the input. There was a surprising number of people, and I gave this feedback to Justice Vanguard because they had a main entrance this year and a fence around the event for the first time. And they wanted the main entrance allowed head counting to happen and to put bans on people so that they knew, who was going to drink alcohol and things like that. Which was great, but the emergency exit over on the library side, which is where I was stationed for 2 shifts. There was an amazing number of people that left the library that wanted to come on an impulse, wanted to come to the Juneteenth festival. And I wasn't allowed to let them in. And so when I told them you have to walk all the way around the bus barn and then go over to the entrance, half of them did that, and I watched them, I followed them, you could see them, because I had a good line of sight. But half of them walked back to their car near the library and went home. So I reported that to Justice Vanguard, and was reporting to staff that that's a lost opportunity, right? Impulse buyers can become loyal buyers. So I think I made a recommendation to Justice Vanguard on behalf of the park, basically to say, consider next time the possibility of having two band issuing entrances, one on the library. Because you
Oh,
guys
yeah,
don't have a
a
lot
lot
of
of
people
kids.
begging to come in, but on the library side, lots, kids wanted to go. And since the food court is there, some people said, oh, I want to eat, I want to have lunch. And I had to say no. So, that's a recommendation that we're making to the event for next time. It was fun though.
That's good. Thank you for doing that and organizing it. Let's see, then the next item is select theme and hang selected art. We do it twice a year. We just did it for, I guess, it's target audience, so that's August, so that's half done. Public art listing and brochure, that's done. Select the movie night, that doesn't happen until our August meeting, and then select call for art and artists, I guess. Director Hernandez, you and I may have to talk about that. Okay, all right, so I think we're done with the work plan. Upcoming events.
Actually, I think those are the ones that
We
we
already
just
talked about.
Yeah, kind
Okay.
of talked about. So
Right.
upcoming Family Fun Day, and then all of the concert series, which is listed below.
Okay.
There's two more, I think, three more.
Well, there's two more at Grant Park and then there's three.
And then the rest
Okay.
come here to help you. So again, a split between north and south.
And then I think we kind of covered cultural partnerships, unless there's anything else you want to add.
No, my next work will be, I'm jumping into two things now, pickleball and the Moon Festival.
Okay, all right, and then we,
Pickleball first, then Moon Festival.
our thought about this is in progress. So request for future agenda items.
There are currently three on the list. So if there's anything anyone.
Actually, yeah, what I could, if I could make a comment on one of them, the Redwood Grove pathway, it's our understanding that that's hit a roadblock. That pathway up to the hills area, I think that, that's hit a roadblock right now, that I'm not sure. Our city managers are discussing it, but going through the attorneys right now, they're basically no plans to do that pathway at this time. So there'll be more discussion. I think there's gonna be one last ditch effort
Is
to,
it for liability reasons? Going from one city to the other or what?
yeah, well, remember, it goes up a hill too.
Yeah.
So there's liability to go back and forth with each city.
Got it.
So, basically, the summary is an agreement has not been reached,
Got it.
but I don't know how much more negotiating there will be for that. So if that changes, if that path changes, no pun intended, then I'll update this commission.
Otherwise, I'm gonna take it off and not. put it
Yeah,
on.
so there's really no reason to put it on there is what I'm.
Will the minutes reflect that we're taking it off?
Yes.
Okay. I do have a future thing to have. So we're not gonna have a July meeting, right?
Correct.
We are gonna have an August meeting.
Right.
And pickleball is when,
I don't know.
it's on the work plan when.
Or on the work plan?
Yeah.
July? No, you did that. There's no pickleball other than the report that you did.
No, I've not done a pickleball report yet. I already did.
Oh, okay, this is what I have here. This is, and you said it was down.
No, that was dog park.
Okay.
Dog park. that-
Okay, so then this is.
Yeah, so pickleball.
Okay.
Yeah, so I met with staff by July for planning purposes, but they knew that we were working on other things, and so now I'm gonna start on pickleball, and, I would like to request a future agenda item to be able to give a report to the park once
Okay,
I understand what the scope of the work's gonna be, and then ultimately get.
so we should have that, a potential agenda
Pickleball.
item for pickleball.
Yeah, and for now, just put it on the future agenda items.
To be determined.
Yeah, to be determined. Got it.
Okay, so let me
August to
get this straight
September.
though, I just wanna make sure, I had checked off because I heard dog park.
Yeah,
No, we did the
The
last.
second item, yeah, so that's why the dog park is not on there, it's pickleball. Okay.
Yeah.
I checked it off as done. I checked it off as done, so it's not done. Okay, that's fine.
I inadvertently, skipped over Arts Los Altos. Commissioner Morris had some comments. Did you?
Oh, the only thing was, and I actually, Director Hernandez, if you wanna say how that went, that they decided to withdraw.
Oh, they're not here, so.
Right.
Yeah, so they're fine, they're interested, basically, I'll just go, the only thing they're interested in now, is to meet with the commission and work, or the working pair, and discuss ideas for collaboration. That's where it goes, they're not gonna request any more funding, they were turned down by council, for the funding for that temporary art display. Maybe they'll revisit it in the future, that'll be up to them, but for now, they're interested in doing the partnership, that collaboration.
Thank you.
That's all.
Sounds great.
Arts consultants.
I heard you say who.
So they withdrew the proposal they made to council.
I'm sorry.
No,
I know the council told them to come up with that.
Yeah,
with that
they said,
proposal.
yeah, they said go talk
But
about
they're
art
not going to
funding,
do that.
but they're not,
they're just
they
gonna come-
decided against.
Two future agenda items.
Yep.
One is, and they're kind of one and the same, is it ties into the tabling. It seems to me that maybe talking about how to have a, just sort of a standard
Yeah.
process for the tabling would be a good idea, so that anytime we need to show up somewhere, we have it all planned out, we know what materials we're doing, maybe we don't know the prizes, but we know what we're doing. I think
it's on SOP for tabling.
to streamline it for tabling.
Yeah, like who has the brochures, et cetera.
But also having a plan as a commission, this is what we want on the table.
Mhm.
And make sure we show up with that, so that it's just a streamlined process, and one person doesn't have to be
A toolkit.
doing it all the time, yeah, like toolkit, like, you know. So that would be one idea I have for a future, agenda item. The other is, for calls for art. So I feel like with this last one, that there were three things that came up in me. One was, I wanted to know the artist, age. It felt important to me to know their age. Because that does make a difference in how I decide. Now, I don't need to know if they're 80 versus 12, but it does help to have the children's thing. So knowing more about the artist would be really helpful. The other is if we have parameters, because this is what Commissioner Valdez brought up, was about, you know, some were computer generated, others were original art. And so if we want a specific approach, I think we need to spell it out when we do the call for art. And so that was one thing that I just felt like, let's clarify that a little bit more and talk about it a little bit more and see what's important to people. And then the other thing was, it has to do with staff, for probably an informational item, which is the naturescape status for Redwood Grove.
I'm sorry.
The naturescape status for Redwood Grove. Maybe we could put that on. I don't know if that's future. I feel like it's more
It'll be an
information.
update once it's completed, they've done part of the work already,
Okay.
but I'll bring it to the commission as not an agenda item, it'll be. It'll
Information.
be an update information as an
Okay.
invite to the ribbon cutting.
Okay, good. So
It
we're
was,
still waiting.
it should have been done at the end of July.
Yeah.
What the plan was, but, they've been sidetracked with some other items that happened in the city. Because remember, staff is doing, we're under contract to do that.
Oh,
So, and I'm overseeing that project as well.
Okay.
So that's been pushed off maybe a month or two.
okay, thanks.
Yes.
I have a question. Can we even ask an age of a person?
Well,
Well, that's what we were discussing right now. So I'm sorry, that's why I was distracted.
maybe we don't ask the age.
But we could ask child versus adult.
Right,
Under
And
seven,
so
under 18.
school, you know,
Yeah,
grade level.
So we were.
We can
Yeah,
find
that's
some
maybe.
proper ways to do it.
But even if it's not that, it could be, and we put this on the agenda to talk about.
No, we can
Before we go to.
we can brainstorm.
How it can be done.
Yes,
You can get the information.
what can be done,
You're right.
how to do it.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't wanna ask
Yeah.
anybody's age.
Well,
Any,
okay.
any other future agenda items?
Race, creed, or color.
No,
No,
that's
I don't
it,
want to
thanks.
know.
Okay, then I think, unless you have anything further, okay, you're ready to adjourn the meeting at 8:15.
Thank you. Okay.